Hi everyone, this week's Parsha is Parshat Tzav. Instead of jumping right into the Parsha this week, I'd like to talk a little bit about Pesach, because Pesach is coming up next week, and before we jump in with both feet, it's good to know a little bit what we're talking about. So last Shabbos, I was at the University of Pennsylvania, and I heard a beautiful Dvar Torah about Pesach itself. And when you think about it, you think of the Shalosh Regalim, the three pilgrimage holidays in which the Jews would go up to Jerusalem. What are they? Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. And if I were to ask which the most difficult of the three of them are, you think, right? Shavuot is pretty easy. You go to shul, you celebrate the giving of the Torah, and you eat some dairy. Great, you're good. Sukkot, get a little bit harder. You have to sit outside in the sukkah, in these huts. You have to shake the lulav and etrog and shul. And you have to alter your lifestyle a little bit. But by far, if you ask anyone what the hardest of the Shalosh Regalim are, of these pilgrimage holidays, Pesach takes the cake. Actually, no pun intended, there's no cake on Pesach. But Pesach, by far, is the most difficult. You have to change your entire lifestyle. There's no bread. You have to, you stay up and get drunk with your family. You drink 4 cups of wine 2 nights in a row outside of the land of Israel. You have to, I don't even go to school during Pesach. It's by far the most difficult. Yet, out of the three, Pesach is the most well practiced, which is fascinating. So this week, I want to just touch on why so many people find Pesach to be so important, and what the scoop is with this Shabbos in particular, which is more pertinent for this video, of why it's called Shabbos HaGadol, this great big Shabbos, where so many people customarily go to shul to hear this big Dvar Torah from the rabbi that's usually very inspirational, and why there's so much importance attributed to this Shabbos in particular. So I read a beautiful piece on this from Rav Moshe Feinstein, and who explains as follows. He says that Pesach is epitomizes one's understanding that God controls the world. There's a very vivid scene of this in the Pesach story, if you may recall, where God literally controls the circumstances that are happening in Israel, in Egypt, and he has these plagues come, and he takes the Jewish people out with a strong arm, right, outstretched arm, and he takes the Jewish people out and facilitates their whole exit from Egypt. God controls the world. But according to Rav Moshe, God controlling the world means nothing without the realization, without the recognition that God created the world, which is epitomized by Shabbos in general, but specifically in this week's Shabbos, Shabbos HaGadol. We see in the Pesach story, that in the story of the Exodus from Egypt, that Paro fell into this mental debacle in which he had clear recognition that God controls the world. He saw God controlling all these different circumstances throughout all the plagues and everything else in Egypt over the course of his tenure as the Pharaoh. Yet, he didn't have this recognition that God created the world, which was his fatal flaw. Essentially, what this means is when we think about Shabbat, God created the world in 6 days, right? And on the 7th day, God rested, which is a slight misconception, because God didn't rest. God created Shabbos on the 7th day, right? And this day is supposed to epitomize the conscious realization. We have this realization every week. If it's so important for us on Pesach to know that God controls the world, we only have that reminder once a year. We have the constant reminder every single week that God created the world. And to bring it full circle, this Shabbos, Shabbos HaGadol, this great Shabbos where everyone goes to shul to hear this inspirational Dvar Torah, according to Rav Moshe Feinstein, has so much emphasis put on it because our whole Pesach experience of the Seder and not eating bread all hinges upon our mental recognition that God not only controls the world, but God also created the world, which is epitomized in Shabbat. So, my bracha to everyone this week is that we should, hopefully, if we're all able to, wherever anyone may be across the world, go to shul to Shabbos and hear the inspirational Dvar Torah. But to keep in mind, as we enter this really amazing time where there are so many Jews throughout the world that celebrate Pesach, let it be that it is the hardest of the Shalosh Regalim, the pilgrimage holidays, that we're not only conscious of God controlling the world, that He's able to save the Jewish people and take us out of Egypt, but that God also created the world. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.